Hello again. Welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Valhelsia 3. So, since the last episode, it has not been a ton of time in this world. I have spent a bit of time in my test world, basically working on building materials, figuring out kind of what I wanted to go with, and then I popped in here and did just a little bit of stuff, and brought some stuff over. Basically, you can see I've got a bunch of spruce and some lime and bone meal and stuff. And then over here we've got a few things, and then all this brass is cooked up. We're going to go ahead and grab that. And out here, you can see that I have built out a little platform here. This is should be 5. No, I'm sorry, it's 7 wide, not 5 wide. Originally it was 5 wide, and then I was like, no, wait a second, I think I want it to be 7 wide. So it's 7 wide here, and then we have a little platform down here which we can access by just going down this. Now we're going to be using that today as we start getting closer to... oh, I dumped off all my dirt. As we start getting closer to kind of what we're going to be doing with all this glue. What we're going to do today, now that we have some brass, we're going to kind of finish setting this up for sort of... Originally I was going to fully automate it, but I don't think that I want it super packed into here like this. I think all of it will get moved because I just don't like it here, and it's going to be right up on this. I kind of want it near this, but I don't want it. I don't think I want it right here. So anyways, where we left off, we got brass. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to make ourselves a couple things. First up, I would like to get a brass funnel. One of these right here. We are going to need some dried kelp, and we are going to need an electron tube, but that does make 2 of them. Okay, so let's actually pop back home, and to get the electron tube, this is actually pretty straightforward. Let's get ourselves some quartz. Let's get ourselves some redstone. I can't remember if I need... Yeah, I need a redstone torch also. I can't remember. And then let me get some sandpaper. And the way that we make the rose quartz, what we do is we're going to take our nether quartz. We're going to take some redstone. No, it's 8. I'm sorry, it's 8 redstone, isn't it? Let me double check. Yeah, okay. Been a little while since I've done this. So there's some rose quartz, and then what we're going to do is we can either take, and we can put this in our offhand, or we can throw it in the ground, and then we take our sandpaper, and we just right click it, if it's in our offhand or if it's on the ground. That's going to make us our polished rose quartz, and then we can get our electron tube, and then I think, yeah, I've got everything else. I'm actually having my coffee, my morning coffee right now. Oh, wacky washing. I guess because I jumped in it. Let's grab that, and let's get our brass funnels. Okay, now, oops, I don't want to put that down there. Let's get ourselves, in addition, I'd like to get a filter. If I can find it right here. I think 1 filter for right now will be fine for us. So let's grab that, and then we're going to grab some dough. And what we're going to do is we're going to say this is going to be the allow list. Ignore data, and we're going to put dough into there. And we're going to put our funnel in, and this is going to be setting right here. Okay, so we want this end facing in towards the water. And then that filter that we set the dough into, we're just going to right click it right onto there. And now what happens is if we have like some wheat flour and we toss it into the water, you can see the fan's going to push it towards the brass tunnel, or the brass funnel, and it's going to wash it, you know, as long as it stays in that block space. But as soon as it turns into dough, then that funnel is going to pick it up. Well, I'll tell you what, because it's such a mess over here, and I don't want to pick up everything and move it just to turn around and remove it, you know. So I'll tell you what, we'll be a little bit lazy here. It's not that important that it's completely automatic. It'll be kind of semi-automatic for the time being. We'll talk about mechanical belts though here in a minute. We're going to put our brass funnel in right there, and we don't have to put a filter here because the thing is with this, it's only going to pull out finished products. So now if I throw the wheat in, we give it a second, it's going to chew through that and it's going to deposit that wheat flour into there. Now, ideally what we would do is then have a mechanical belt that picks it up and takes it up to here, separates out the wheat flour and the seeds, only drops wheat flour into the water, and the water then washes it and turns it into dough. But it's too compact in here to try to move mechanical belts, and then I wouldn't be able to get in and out of here very easily. So I think it's better that we do it this way, and just kind of semi-automatic, and until we get to where we can automate it. We have more space, basically. But anyways, that's the process of making dough. Now what I would like to do, really quick, is let's go ahead, let's break off this, and let me take our bones. Also, let me stop this from running for just a minute. I'm going to take the bones that I've got, I'm going to throw them into the meal, because in the meal we are going to get better output here. So we have a 25% chance to get 3 extra bone meal and white dye, instead of just the default 3. So yeah, we got 15 and some white dye from that instead of 12, just 12 bone meal. And we're going to go ahead and do some lime petals, hit these bone meal. Let me get some new shears, and we'll just shear these off. So there's 20. That should be good for us for right now. We'll throw that stuff into there. And what we can do is we can take these mystical lime petals and chuck them into the meal to actually get lime dye. Of course, if we were to do the... if we use the petals here in the crafting recipe with the bowl, well, where is it? Oh, never mind. It actually does the dye now, instead of the floral powder. So, yay. I was looking at that. I didn't realize they had changed it to where there's no floral powder anymore. So there's 20 lime dye, and then we can take that. We can combine it together with some dough, and we can get some slime balls. Okay. So there's that. And then we will fully automate the system with the crafting and stuff. Originally I had plans for it, but we just don't have the space, and it's going to get moved anyway, so I'm not that worried about it. So now we're going to make ourselves some super glue. This right here. Oh no, this takes plates, doesn't it? It does. I should have made more of these. Okay, let me plug this thing back up. Let me do... Alright. I gotta go back to town. That was southwest. It's always southeast or southwest. I think because of the cliff that's over there. They never attack from another direction. And it may not even be that important that I rush off. Let me go sleep too. Though, the other day I did have some spawn just like basically in the middle of the town. Because they drop that bonfire down whenever they spawn. And I had some spawn like... It was like right in the middle. It was over right by the town hall. I was like, what is this madness? Luckily, I was here. They broke some doors and stuff, but it wasn't a big deal. Alright. And you'll notice that we've got more barbarians, and they've got more health now. That's, of course, based... I don't know what that's based on. I've heard rumors. I think somebody commented about it being tied to the town hall. That's not true. I know it's not tied to the town hall because they get stronger even if I don't upgrade the town hall. So I'm thinking it has to do maybe with the amount of citizens and just maybe how developed your city is, perhaps. That causes them to get stronger. But anyways, we did get an ancient tome, and my inventory's full. I don't think they dropped anything else. They usually don't drop a whole lot, so no, I don't really see anything. But usually they get stuck on the walls anyways, so it's not that big of a deal that I rush off, because I've noticed like they can break down doors, but they don't seem to break down anything else really. They just break down doors, so they don't tear through the walls or anything, at least at the moment. Okay, so let's get ourselves, let me get some more of these iron nuggets. Oh gosh, it's so bad in here. I apologize. I thought I was going to have enough space. For some reason I was like, yeah, I'm going to have enough space for what I need to do. That didn't turn out to be true. Let's go ahead. Let's get ourselves some super glue. And what we're going to do with this, let's get... Let's see, how do we want to start this? Because we're going to be using this to make our structure out here. I guess the first thing that we should do probably is make our windmill bearing. Now there is a couple other bearings. We're going to talk about these later. But the windmill bearing is going to be our the first one that we use. And I'm actually going to be making 2 of these later. But we'll go ahead and build one and then we can build the other. And the windmill bearing, you can read about it here, but basically you can make a large windmill, and it's totally freeform in the way that you want to set it up. You can put any kind of blocks on there. For the default windmill stuff, to get it to stick together, you either need to use chassis, slime, or super glue, and you can also use cell blocks and wool, and those will automatically stick to the structure. So if you take a look, the cell blocks are, right here. They lay them down sideways, and I don't notice them next to all the seats, but you can see cell frames and white cells. Both of these will work when it comes to making your windmill, but you can dye the white cells if you want them to be a different color, which we will do later. We're going to be using some white cells today. You can do that later. But what we're going to do, we are going to come out. Let me find the middle. Originally my test world, I think I built this as like a 9x9. Okay, yeah. Perfect. So we're going to have a 15x15 is the size of this. And we're actually going to come up 2, 3, 4. Let me think. I haven't totally planned this out. I just I got an idea. I was like, what kind of materials? Basically, like, what kind of materials do I want this to be? But we offset it. I think this will be good. I think 4 high. 3, 4. Because that's going to put it 3. I'm trying to think. Maybe we'll go up 1 more. But let's go ahead and come out. No, let's keep it at the 4, actually. Yeah, we're going to keep it at the 4. So what we'll do, we'll come out to... This is now a 7, right? 4. And we're going to put the windmill bearing here. Yeah, it's going to put it some funky direction. That's fine. We'll come down. And we'll put the windmill bearing in here. No! I was holding shift. We're going to put it there. You want this this bit of like the sticky piston part to be sticking outwards if that's going to be the front of your structure. But technically with this you can do some weird crazy things, which we will do. What we're going to be doing today is going to be a lot of fun, but you could put a block here, build a block up, and then have it basically go in on itself. So the front's here, but the windmill mostly rotates back here or something. You could do some weird stuff with it for sure. I'm sure there's probably an inevitable size maximum for this, but I have not found it, so just a heads up. But let's go ahead. We're going to get ourselves some spruce wood. We're going to be using this a bit today. And when it comes to making a structure that will stick together, the first block that you place, like that, will automatically stick because there's glue already on the windmill bearing, kind of on the piston. But every additional block that is not a cell block, a wool block, you're going to have to use glue on. Or you can do slime and stuff if you want. But what we're going to do is right-click there. Sometimes it's a little bit weird to right-click because you can't right-click onto the glue itself. You kind of have to click on the edges of the block. And then what we're going to do is bring out glue on this side and this side. Do that and that. We're going to be building this mostly out of spruce wood. Spruce wood and sails for this. But then there's going to be a housing that kind of goes around this. That's fine. I still need spruce wood, so it doesn't really matter. But we're going to get... That might be overkill. Maybe not. We're going to get ourselves some of those. Okay, so what we're going to do... Let's see. This is going to be awkward to build. I did get some scaffolding made up. Because I figured I'm going to need it. But... Let's see. This is going to be a 15 by 15. So we're going to have to bring this down 6. And we're going to bring this down with spruce wood walls. So that's going to be the center. It's going to be kind of raised off of this. Let me go down my awesome staircase here. This will get easier to move around in and stuff. But of course, whenever we start a base, especially one on the side of a mountain like this, it's going to be a headache here. 3, 4, 5, 6. And I will say that this is not going to be so much like a windmill as it is kind of like a weird hybrid windmill watermill thing. I mean, technically, in terms of the mod, it's going to be a windmill. But ours is going to be, like I said, a windmill watermill hybrid thing. I think it's going to be pretty fun. So, trying to do something a little bit different, so we're not just building a windmill and like, okay, there we go, there's a windmill. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and let's see, for a curve, I gotta think about this. This is a 15 by 15, so that's a 5, so 2, 1, 2, I think. We'll build it and find out. Oh, wait, you know what? Oof, I totally made a huge mistake, too. Oh, no. I forgot to add glue on each of these. It's going to take me some getting used to. But yeah, it's important that you put down glue every single piece. So, and we have to do this for every single block. So building large structures can be a little bit... of course, I got to do this in my test world on the other one. Or, you know, the first time building this. And it was smaller, too, which helped. But I had flight, and now I don't have flight. Nope, whoops, there we go. Sometimes these walls can be a little bit tricky to try to get placed. Because if they're very far out of your range with the glue, even holding shift, you won't be able to place it. You don't necessarily have to hold shift, but it's really, really weird with the range. If you're very far off at all. Okay, so there's that. Ooh, this is already nightmarish building this in survival, actually. Okay, and then we're going to come out, I think it's 2, 1, 2 with 5, I think. We're about to find out. But let's go ahead. I think I want this to run out like that. And then what we'll do is just place glue, glue. And see, sometimes you can place on the glue, I think it's all based on like your distance from it. It seems like, I don't know if that's intended, it's kind of weird, but sometimes you'll be able to place on the glue and sometimes you won't. Alright, so let's, yeah, see, like I can't, there we go. If I get that close, if I'm like 2 blocks away, I cannot place onto it. So kind of weird sometimes, but that's alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to put down glue and we're going to put down log fences. Now, oh man, this is going to be, there we go. That's where we got to put it kind of on the edge because we're too far away to actually be able to click on it. So, and we're going to put glue then onto the side of this. And we're going to put our block coming off there. Put glue there. And it does work with fences. It works with all kinds of weird stuff that you wouldn't think that it would work with. It works just fine with all that stuff. For the most part, if you want to try something, it's probably going to work. Certain things may not. I haven't tested, I don't guess I've tested things like chess with it. The reasoning to do so has never really come up. So, but it may work with those. I don't know for sure. But I'm just kind of running off of memory from messing with it before. So, alright, so we'll build that out. I think, yeah, I've got one more block here. Put the glue on, put a block. I'll take a look and see here in a second. I think, like I said, I think it's 2, 1, 2. So it would be into that. Yeah, these I can place without issue. It's like if you're above a 2-block range, I think. That's when it starts acting up with letting you place. And by the way, the glue is only visible like if you're holding super glue. So just a heads up there. Let me come up. Once we get this part built, it's going to be a whole lot easier. Just this first little bit is kind of dreadful. That's going to come down, so I'm going to snip that off. Trying to make sure all of our directions match up too. And then we're going to bring this down 5. And we should be able to get an idea if this is if this feels right for a circle. And something to bear in mind is, yeah, that feels right to me. That feels right. One thing to bear in mind is when it comes to building this out, you don't have to do a circle. You can do all kinds of weird, crazy shapes if you want. So just kind of bear that in mind, that that is an option. That's one thing I love about these windmills is you can kind of just go crazy with them and just do your own designs and stuff. That's one thing I really like about this mod is the freedom to be able to make something however you want it, you know, that you want to make it. This is where mine colonies came in very, very handy. Or one place that it came in very, very handy. Alright, so that. And then right here, you could just use one piece of glue, really. I'm going to go ahead and just put 2 because I can. You can do it like that. But one piece of glue would hold it. So, there we go. Okay, so there is the start of it. Of course, there's no windmill cells or anything like that. And I'm actually kind of curious. If I was to start this up, would it actually run like this? If I was to click this, like to activate it, what you do is you just click the generator. Yeah, it's not going to run right now because there's no windmill cells. So it's just going to hang out. It can't get wind. Alright, so what we're going to do now is, these parts are a little bit easier. We're going to go ahead and do glue all up that. And we're just going to run this down like so. And then we're going to do glue all up this side. And run this down. This is fences. And of course that's a wall there. So we kind of get this little like divided section here, which I quite like. And then what we're going to do, let's do the same thing on the bottom side. It's a little bit easier to build once you're not building onto the glue each time. Because we're able to kind of just click on other blocks that we know are already connected. And then let's go ahead. Here's the really fun part. We're going to go ahead and just start. Nope, we're out of glue. Let me get another one. We're not using as much glue yet as I was anticipating, but we're still using a bit of it. And this is only the first one because then we're going to, of course, need another one of these structures. So, but what we're going to do is then just build this out. Just for right now, just the spruce wood part, and just kind of thicken this out a bit. Okay, so there's that part of it done. And so far, we've done all this work, and we have yet to even put a windmill blade on, so it won't even run. But soon it's going to. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come in, probably do the top first, I think. Been working on this for like 2 in-game days already. Oh. What we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to put in oak or spruce fences down through here. And then we're going to do the same thing on this other side. And I can actually... Oh, and you know what? I didn't put glue. So we're just going to come down and do that. You can put it on, as you notice, you can put it on once it's on. But it doesn't... It's not really practical when it's a block, but when it's a fence like this, it's not a problem. You know, up against a wall like that, because you do have somewhere where you can target that. Okay, yeah, I was thinking and changing up my original design a little bit here. Let's go ahead and right here, we're going to bring down spruce wood walls. And we're just going to bring these all the way down, putting glue as we go. Straight down to here. And hopefully this will give you guys some ideas, like, you could make some really crazy stuff with this. And we will be making more of these, of course, because like I said, I want a lot of movement in the base. But this first one, I want this big, like, centerpiece. So, of course, we're starting like the biggest thing. Or one of the biggest things right here at the start. But what's going to be fun is, we'll talk a little bit more about the purpose of this here shortly. But this setup is going to be, like I said, a windmill watermill hybrid thing. And I don't know that it would actually do anything like, you know, real life or whatever. But this is the fantasy world. We get to have some fun with it. And we're going to come over one more, and we're going to put another line of these spruce wood walls straight down through here. And on the other side. But this is also going to kind of double as actually item transport too. So fun fact there. Let's get, ooh, I'm going to need more spruce wood for sure. We'll go ahead and get 60 more. That's more than what I need for finishing this off. Oh, you know what though? I didn't bring any more spruce wood. I did not. That's okay. I'll get some more here in a moment. I'll run back over there. I've got plenty of this stuff, so this thing takes forever to build it in survival mode. It really, really does. Okay, so there's that. And then what we're going to do is back behind here, I think, and this is one thing I'm going to change slightly, but I think I'm going to run wood down. And I want to try something. I think this would actually work. Let's go over to create, and let's make ourselves some white sails. We're going to need to make some sail frames. This is andesite alloy with just a bunch of sticks. Just make a set of 8 here, just because I want to try something. Like I said, this probably will get dyed later on, but not just yet. So there's 8 white sails. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these in just right here. And you'll see the arrows there, so we can easily attach these. It's really awesome that you can do all this stuff, but it doesn't actually sometimes make sense. So if we click this, yeah, you can see this actually turns. Like, there wouldn't be enough wind. It wouldn't make, you know, it wouldn't actually do much. But then we can just right-click to reset it. But you'll notice that that is 512 stress units at current speed. Okay. So it's going to turn like that, and it works. That's already more stress units than, you know, our water wheels. It takes like 2 water wheels to produce that much. But by the time we're done, this is going to be a massive amount of stress units. Okay, so let me pop over. I need more spruce wood, and I'm going to go ahead and grab some more sticks too, because I've got a bunch of sticks over here from the woodcutter. Let's get the last of the wood placed out, and then we're going to run sails. Which really, I guess I could just use spruce logs here because it's not going to be visible. And that would save me slightly on materials. Just because it's 4 to 3 on the actual bark pieces. So, might as well. I love having my farms and stuff. That's why I'm really glad we started with mine colonies to kind of do that initial, you know, that initial push of stuff. Because now I've got the materials, the wood and stuff. Farming all this wood wouldn't have been too terrible because spruce is one of those easy ones to farm. But even steel, this just makes it so much easier, to be honest. And once again, if like, see, I can't place that, but if you target here, you can place it. So don't forget about that. It's just kind of handy. There we go. Okay, so that's the most of the wood placed out. Now what we have to do is make a bunch more sails. But there is a stack of white sails. Then, like I said, once again, we will dye these, but later. Later we shall. And by the way, if you place, I'll show you something really useful as well here in just a second. Let me bring these down. Now, probably if we weren't doing a windmill, we wouldn't even have these, to be honest. But since we are doing kind of this windmill structure, we do have to have, you can either do, like I said, you can either do these, or you can do the sail frames. Either one would work just as well. But we're going to be going with the white sails. I think they're going to look a bit better. And right here I am going to put in that. Actually, it's a little bit different than my original plan, but I think it's going to look pretty good. Now, one thing that's nice is, like, if you're back here and you place a sail, it's going to face towards you, of course. But if you use the arrows, it's going to place it in the correct, you know, the correct orientation for how your other ones are ran. So just kind of bear that in mind. And I'm hoping that this is going to slow it down just slightly, because like I said, it was way too fast. It's really easy to make a windmill that's just super fast. And realistically, I mean, you don't have to do all this if you're just looking for function and you don't care about the way it looks. You could just stick a bunch of white sails together and make it like, because the wood doesn't do anything except just make it look a bit nicer than just being, you know, solid. Originally, I would like to have white sails all the way through, or sail frames all the way through, so it's a little bit more solid, but it doesn't work quite so well because it's just way too fast. It's like max speed, and max speed on a windmill, there is an achievement for it, but it's way too fast in my opinion. Way too fast. Okay, so let's go ahead and activate this guy. There's a couple other things we got to add to this, but let's see how fast. That's how fast it's going to spin. Still a little bit fast for my taste, but I think it's got enough clearance here. Yeah. So there's that. And what's cool is we can actually... Ooh, we're going to get motion sickness. We can actually jump onto this and ride it. So there is that too. We're going to be using that for some things, but if I like move, ooh, it makes me kind of like get some motion sickness going. It's so weird though, if you look, seeing fences like laid out like that, like on their side, it's quite strange. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we have to build another one of these guys. Phew. It's a lot bigger than I expected, because like I said, I've built it a lot smaller in my test world, but now it's like a lot bigger than it was. Alright, so give me a minute. I'm gonna get this built. Another one of these guys. My pick's probably gonna break soon, but that's whatever. I didn't intend to actually keep this diamond pick, so. Okay, I got that one built. And I got to thinking we may change out this stone for something else. Because I think I would like to, once we have the materials, I'm not going to do it right this second. But once we have the materials, I might actually add maybe some metals or something. Some metals or something to this. But we'll see. So I'm going to run that across. This is small spruce beams from Druidcraft. I think it's going to look kind of cool if we do that. Kind of a wacky design. I don't know if this would actually work in real life. But like I said, the create stuff, it's not like super intelligent about the way that it like reads. You know, if there would actually be air kind of flowing through here or anything. It just kind of, it basically just looks at the structure and says how many cell blocks are on there and wool and stuff. And then from that it deduces how, we need 6 more, how fast that it should run basically. Like it's like, okay, well I've got this many cell blocks, let me go this fast. We ended up using, what, 5.5 tubes of super glue to put these together. Not too bad. Alright, so if we start these up, if we try to start these up at the same time, it's not going to be exact, but it's going to be close. Yeah, you can see it's kind of... Oh. It looks like I forgot glue somewhere. Alright, let me fix that real quick. Oh no, I forgot to actually just put in the walls entirely. I think this is where I ran out of walls and I went to craft some more and totally missed it. And the nice thing is you can use these to move items and stuff as well, which I have some plans for a bit later on. It's kind of cool because what you can do is you can build a structure like this and have the items drop in. Like if we were to make a hole, say, on this side, and we made a hole, say, on this side, the items drop in, and then they get moved, and then, you know, they'll fall towards the bottom, and then they could fall out the hole that's open. If you set it up correctly, you can have them fall out a certain, you know, a certain spot. And I have some plans for that later as well. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with it. And I think the mod, overall, I think the mod needs a little bit of refining in places, but overall, it's pretty nice. Now, I don't know that I can get these to spin in the other direction. If not, it's not a big deal, I guess. I don't think, if we hit it with the wrench, I don't think it's going to do anything, but we're going to try that and just see. We'll see if there's something that we can do to get it to rotate, but if you guys know of a way, if you'll let me know down in the comments. I don't know that the wrench will work, but we're going to try it. I guess if I've ever tried to rotate them, but when you start trying to build to have it look a certain way, then it's like, oh, I need this to rotate a different way. But if not, it's not a big deal because the water's going to fall, and maybe, I don't know, the water's flowing off in that direction. I mean, I guess we could have it come in this direction. Not necessarily a bad thing. Rotation direction. What is this? What did I do? Oh, yeah, I need to scroll it. So now if I hit it, perfect. Okay. Okay, and use your scroll wheel for this. There we go. Oh, that's nifty. I didn't even realize I could do that. I never tried the wrench on these, you know. I just, you know, I've used it, but I never thought about it being able to rotate these. That's really cool. So now the water can flow off in this direction, and it will make sense. Okay. So now I've got to build kind of what I'm thinking. Let's go up here and let's take a look at this from a distance. Have a look and see. Yeah, look at that. And then what I'm thinking is it's 3 wide here. We're going to have kind of this basically housing that comes out. It's going to be about 5 wide. And the outside's going to kind of go over the water wheel. The inside's going to allow water to flow. And we're going to have a thing that comes out here that brings, kind of like an aqueduct, that brings the water out, you know, from up here and brings it out and then pours it over that. Once we build the housing, I don't know if it's going to be as apparent that those are so lopsided. But I think we could probably use, we might be able to use like 2 deployers and get them to activate at exactly the right time. I probably won't do it until we get this chunk loaded. Because I imagine it might, because I doubt, oh, there's no chunk boundary thing here. If we take a look at the map, yes, this is going to be like, they're both in the same chunk, but they're going to be, the edge here is on a different chunk, but I don't think it's going to matter as long as we keep these 2 chunk loaded, but I don't think it's going to matter anyways, but we'll have to see. We'll see. We'll see as time goes on. I mean, these things are pretty big. But once we get the housing built and the water running over the top, and see the water is going to run over the top and then it's going to flow down, like down here, and then it's going to flow, that's going to be open too, it's going to flow down and bring the items with it, and then we're going to use a thing to kind of separate the items and the water from each other. Kind of like where they get filtered out, and then, yeah, we can use that for item transport from like up here to down below us to move large amounts of items. So I think that'll be pretty cool, and it'll kind of work with like, you know, the conveyors and stuff that'll be going on in places. I think it'll make it look pretty nice, and then all that'll drop onto a conveyor and then get moved and filtered to wherever it needs to go. Okay, so we got that built, and what I'd like to do now, of course, we got to do the housing and stuff. I'll work on that. Because I got to figure out what kind of materials I want to build it out of. I'd really like to at least somewhere include brass, but I mean, there might be something. Yeah, we'll probably look at some kind of metallic block for that. I'd like to go with something that's not too expensive for me right now. Building anything out of brass is not realistic at present, so we'll probably go with some other metallic material. And then I might go a little bit further and bring it out onto this somewhere. So that we have, you know, something other than just the spruce and the white. Of course, we are going to dye these probably, but I wouldn't mind having some kind of metallic and maybe spruce up this a little bit, but we'll get to that. That's not a big rush for us. And I'll probably build some kind of an access hatch so that we can actually move in here to get to the windmill bearings and stuff from between this. Really, it could, oh yeah, it could actually just be open and allow us to walk through here because it would make sense. Now, let me go ahead and build that out real quick. Because really, there's no reason that it wouldn't be, that we couldn't move through here. At least down to the middle. But of course, here we're going to have a shaft and stuff. Ooh, I get a little bit of motion sickness when I look up and that's moving. It's like, oh man. Now, I will say that this isn't going to stay just spruce slabs. We're actually going to do some chisels and bits down through here so we can have a different texture along the edges. And oh, that really messes with... Ugh. That really messes with me. Because we have like that steel floor and then looking up to that moving water wheel. Okay, I came back over to the village for a second. I was doing some thinking how I want to do this. Because there's a couple ways that we could... Oh, wow. One second here. I think leaving, and this not being chunk loaded or whatever, has caused the rotation to actually align these pretty well. I like that. Okay. Well, anyways, I was thinking about how I want to do this, because we could either use mechanical belts to do it, or we could use the in-case chain drive. Either one, I mean, we would still... Yeah, I guess we would still end up using, unless I used multiple... Yeah, we'll use belts, because we're going to use it anyways, regardless of how we do this. So what we're going to do here, and I also made another chest just to get my inventory cleaned up a little bit here. And then we'll have our vertical gearbox. And we haven't really talked about mechanical belts yet. But basically you don't, for this, you don't want to just stick a vertical gearbox on there, of course, because don't forget that your gearboxes, they're going to reverse straight connections. So if we were to plug like a gearbox right in the middle of that, we got one turning this direction and one turning the same direction. It tries to reverse it. It's going to cause it to probably break off the gearbox, I imagine. So what we need to do is we need to keep this straight connection. So we're just going to run a shaft across there. And then what we're going to do, if we attach a mechanical belt, we can go... Then I'm moving from the center. I'm still going to have to rotate it because I want it to come down at the center. So we'll talk about belts and we'll talk about chain drives, actually. Because that way I don't end up with... Because I want it to come out the center... Or come down at the center. So I think what I'm going to do... Yeah, I'm going to make 2 of these in-case chain drives. May as well. And the way in-case chain drives work is if you set these up, you can see they've got an axle on them. But they actually will go out up to 3 wide. And you can do vertical as well. In any rotation, they don't, if you notice, they will say that they relays rotation in a straight line and to adjacent in-case chain drive. So we don't have to worry about, with this being a straight line like this, we don't have to worry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our in-case chain drive. No. And it's because I'm holding shift, that would be why. Whoops. It tries to catch me all the time. Let's rotate this like that. And you can see that the axle's turning. And this is going to be a combined stress. We're going to talk about... I'm going to show you how to check your stress here in just a second. but we're going to use the encased chain drive, run that off. I never realized that. I thought it would only go like on the same axis, but no, it'll actually go like this. So we don't even need, in that case, we don't even need the vertical gearbox, because I was going to have it run into a vertical gearbox. But yeah, the encased chain drive, and then we'll just run our shaft down, you know, right here, and we'll continue that line there. And now if we head down, let's go ahead and make, which I am going to want the vertical gearbox here in just a second anyways. I was going to need a second one, but now I just need the one. But before we go down, let's go ahead and make a speedometer and a stressometer. And these will convert back and forth. And that's what I got the redstone for. Let's get some more andesite casings, and then we'll get 2 speedometers. And we're going to change one of those over to a stressometer. Because I'd like to read this just at the site of this. I love the fact that goes down. I did not realize that. That would have... That's actually like super handy to know. What we're going to do is we're going to run this down to say... we're going to have it running down here. And let me just rotate this. And let's see, can I rotate... Yeah, perfect. We're going to have it come down like that, and then we're going to have the stressometer setting there, and you can see that our stress on this is 8,192, and that would be a combination of both water wheels, because remember, they're both at like 4096. Now, if you wanted to, you could put more windmill blades. I actually had one in my test world, but like I said, I don't want them going that fast. But if you just change out some of that decor, or just put windmill sails, or even the hollow ones in there a little bit, you'll actually get a max speed windmill, which is, I can't remember, I think 10,000 stress or something like that. So you can easily do that, but and very, very easily, and without changing the design at all. It's just add more sails to it and you'll get it. But we're going to go ahead and put the speedometer on there too, and you can see we're only doing 8 RPM. 8 RPM, it's a very low speed, but remember that we can build that back up very easily. So that's good. The big thing is we want lots of stress units so that we can do lots of things. Because stress units are, in my opinion, the most important thing. You can adjust RPM really easy, but you can't really add additional stress units because, of course, bear in mind here we increase the speed of our cogs. This would increase the RPM. But it would not change the stress units. Stress units are completely dependent on your generators. You know, how big are they? How much actual you know, energy is being kind of created through this, and that's your stress units. RPM is just how fast an individual axle line is going. So, but that way we can kind of see how much RPM and how much stress units are coming down off of these 2 water windmill things. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up this vertical gearbox just right there. And then that is going to bring out our axle. It's actually going to run back and it's going to be used for things. So this will just run back. And then we can make casings for this. So if we want to encase it in andesite, or if we want to encase it in brass, we can do that. Realistically, I'd like to encase it in brass, which is very doable. Because once we have more brass, there's going to be a lot more brass in here. So I'd like to go ahead. These aren't that expensive. And go ahead and plan for the future. So let me get like 6 of these. That. There is some brass casing. And then the metal brackets. I do want to make some of these also. So let me grab... iron and nuggets. Yeah, let's go ahead and get just a few of these metal brackets. So there's 12. And then what we can do is, let's see, how do we want to set this up? I'm not sure exactly. We're gonna need a roof here. And then what we can do is we can take and do like that, and then like get our axle kind of locked in there, so that it looks like it's actually you know, attached in places, and then it would come through And then we would say, like, you know, this would be a wall, let's say. And then what we could do is put brass casing in right here. And so the axle would still come through the wall there, but it wouldn't look like it's just sticking through a hole in the wall. And that way we've kind of got that set up nicely. And that way this room here is just for the axle kind of coming through. And my plan is we're going to have this kind of come off at an angle. We'll probably extend this room just a little bit wider. Maybe out 2 more blocks, and then kind of have this come out at some kind of an angle here. And then we'll have glass around it so we can actually see out. And then we'll see, from here we'll see that water kind of rushing down. They are bringing those items. So this will be kind of like a little room where we can step out and we can just have a look around and kind of see some of the things in motion here as well. And then this would come back to what would be one of our workshop rooms, and then this would get split off. Those shafts would get split off and kind of go to different, different rooms and stuff. Not all of our power is going to be coming from this, but with how many stress units this produces, and me not being one that thinks everything needs to run at maximum speed, I just don't think everything looks that great at maximum speed. Like, this is by far not maximum speed, this press, but honestly I think it's pretty fast for my taste. It's not too fast. Any faster and it's going to start looking kind of goofy when it's like, just almost instant. I like to see that movement at a reasonable pace. This is still a little bit fast for my taste, but it's kind of a happy balance, I think. But we'll be able to do a lot with those stress units, because bear in mind, this stuff is not, it's not using that much. I mean, that's 256. So we could run a lot of presses just on this. So at this point, I'm going to spend a bit of time. I'm going to open this area up down here. I'm not sure where we're at on time, but I'm going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to just kind of clean this up a little bit. Unfortunately, once again, we don't have replay mod. But I'm just going to take some time. I'm going to open up this room, and I'm probably going to move some of these things to get us kind of sorted. And then before long, we're going to be starting on actual automation lines of stuff. Okay, I was editing out the footage, and it is unfortunately wrapping up point. Time got away from me once again. I will say we're going to take a better look at this next episode, but I've been working on basically, the stuff I had mentioned that I was going to be working on, but we're going to take another look at that. I have put a huge dent into iron. I haven't actually built that much, just basically, like I said, I built the housing for this, and I brought out the downstairs a little bit so that we have space to work, and brought our axles through and stuff. And I'm working on setting up another structure, which we're going to talk about and actually plug up next episode, and continue talking about kind of rotational power, and we're going to be setting up our workshop and maybe moving into a bit of automation come next episode. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a little bit longer of an episode, I do apologize, but to be fair, I wanted to show a bit of building these on camera, these water wheels, and then talk a little bit about setting them up, so time just got away from us. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button, and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.